Hello and welcome back to Stranded Deep. You join us once again in the map editor because we are editing our home island. Yes, this is kind of a first for this channel. We have built this home island, this island called Hobbes Rest, and we did it in the map editor in a very, very long number of episodes. It took a while to get this fairly varied, very natural island going. And then a lot of things changed. The tides were added, the grass textures were changed, so the higher the grass texture appears on your island, the more brown it becomes. And a lot of the trees, the models were changed. So the ficus trees, which were big and gnarled and really kind of cool, they would overhang the beaches and things. They changed. They were like, oh yeah, that's the thing that's happening. Now, because of this guy here, here? Can I click on you? Yeah. No, I can't click on this ficus tree. Let's point out the camera to a different direction. There we go. Because this guy here, which is three sticks, I kind of assumed if we go into trees and we go to the ficus 1, 2, 3, and the ficus tree. So ficus tree originally, this guy here in the icon was the really cool one, and it's now just a stick. And then the ficus tree below, if you can see, kind of in the icon, it's really hard to see, is a bunch of sticks. It's not anymore. No, I tell you what, I'd kind of seen this one here and assumed this was ficus tree 2. It is not. It really isn't. So this is now ficus tree 2, and it's very close to what we had before. Now, I don't know how to pronounce your name, but Station 9333. I think that's probably, it might be German of origin. I don't know. Pointed out in the comments, they said, oh, don't forget the other ficus tree, which is really nice and amazing. And I'm thinking the original ficus trees might have been assets, store-bought assets, which isn't a bad word. Either they were store-bought assets and they wanted to move away from that to something in-house, something they'd made themselves, or there was a problem with the original models and they moved to this model for various reasons, maybe because they've got greater control over LOD or something with the way that the leaf sprites work. Because if you look at these leaves, they are a lot of flat planes with the leaves kind of visible from top and bottom, but not edge on. Oh, that camera though. Yeah, the camera still has an acceleration thing. You have no control over it. So Q and E move you up and down. W, S, A, and D move you left, right, forward, and back. And holding right mouse button pans the camera. You are witnessing this 3D environment via a camera, which is kind of cool. So what I'm going to do is go around the island, I think, and get rid of some of these sticky trees, the ones that were placed in by, were changed when the island changed. And then we are going to replace them with the new style, old style tree. And see if we can make the island a little bit more livable, natural, nice. I think we're looking for something that looks good. Yeah, so before we do that, I'm just going to go over here and look at this. This was the bay. So this was the sort of main inlet. This is the place where I normally park my boats. And we rounded this off. And I was like, ooh, is this going to work? I did go back into the main game and sat around for a little bit and just made sure that did work. So no longer does the water mesh pop away from the beach at high tide, so that's okay. I looked over here to our swamp area, and a lot of this does work. I did notice some bubbles over here, so I might have to come back and sort of smooth that off, but so we don't get stuck in a sort of vicious cycle of smoothing and whatever the textures. This here is also a bit bubbly. This might be a problem, this river. Most of it works quite well. So what I might be able to do is smooth this bit off and then just give up here and throw a rock in there somewhere so that you can't see that the water mesh breaks at low tide. Apart from that, I think most of it's actually okay. There's another. So yeah, anytime you see these bubbles, it's kind of an indication that at high or low tide, something might go wrong. But we can smooth this area out, no problem. No problem, no problem. Good. Good, good, good. So what we're going to do is just make sure this is the thing that's selected. And it's quite far in the ground. And we're going to delete it. And then we're just going to go around the island, replacing them with the now ficus tree 2. So we'll pop that in. The root system has changed from the old ficus tree. It's more of a block, which is, it's kind of cool. There's quite a few islands that I've made and released. I think I'm going to have to go through and change them. Also, when you press T, so T transforms, R rotates. Boop, 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 boop. That's rotate. That's not the button I was looking for. That's T. That makes things go up and down. This model has at least one branch that goes out over the beach. That LOD though. So the LOD, it's all fuzzy, that shadow, and then you get close and then boom, the shadow comes into sharp relief and becomes even sharper the closer you get to it. To a point where you can see almost like the very edges of the leaves. That's a level of detail. That's camera though. Yes, the closer you get to things, I'm not even holding shift, the closer you get to things, the slower you are, and then it accelerates away. I don't know why camera acceleration is still on. Please disable it. That might be an engine thing though. So I want at least one of these branches out over the beach because while this area is nice, the sort of need to have the branch over here. I mean, people might not be running up here that often. It is essentially just a front for this kind of like Neolithic tomb entrance, which we're kind of fudging because we've thrown rocks as if there's been a collapse and you can't really go down in there. But it was one of those things that we created just for a sort of a point of interest on the island. What we could do is put another ficus tree in and then rotate that. So R, rotate that. So that one branch does come quite low over that area and just kind of, is that going to work? No, I don't think it will actually. I mean, these trees are quite high, so we can make sure we have got the right thing selected, which we don't. When you let go of an item, sometimes it snaps to something behind it, and because we have so many items, we have to make sure just before we do something, we have still got whatever we selected. We clicked on the tree, we've got a rock selected. Yeah, so the way to overcome that is to look in a direction where there are very few items. Click on the item that you want to move or change, make sure you are moving it, and then delete it. There's a tippity top tip if ever you seen it. Yeah, so one of the problems, it kind of looked like there would be a problem with the height of that particular tree, so we'll rotate it around. You can always have it over at an angle. Thing is that what I'm trying to do is make this more interesting here, but not have this branch smack you in the face as you're running around. I think that's a little bit better. Is that the natural? Is the tree in the ground? It is. It is. I'm just going to see if I can see under the mesh by getting the camera unreasonably close to the tree. Does it look good? Yeah, it looks good. It's kind of throwing shade over those rocks. I think that's kind of what was needed there. This weird little hamburger hill. So if we throw the trees on top of the hill, like so, it's going to start looking weird because that tree is very, very elevated and you kind of just see the naked tree. So we'll make sure we've got the right thing selected and just get rid of it. So we won't do that. However, where is the bush? Old icon. Let's see if we can do something with the bush. Tarwanian in the comments was saying suggested using the bushes and pushing them into the ground to create grass. There are a couple of problems with that. It's a good idea. It's a very good idea. The two problems are going to be that these bush models are very... so if we bring them out, if we get rid of it, let's get rid of you. Let's go out somewhere here. No, yeah. It is very, I want to say rigid, but it's not. The mesh is solid mesh, so you end up running over the top of it as if it were just rocks with green fuzz on. And they're not level. We could flip it over, so it is level, but then we get this kind of hard, flat, surface with a repeating leaf pattern. Yeah, it's a bit of an issue, this thing. Bit of an issue with the grass as well. We could probably use them structurally. It is kind of a nice big shape to be used structurally, and that might work for us if we just put it in areas to hide the fact that there's a lot of sort of here, this kind of crescent shape, in order to hide the fact that there is just so much brown texture. Maybe it'll change in the future. I mean, a lot has changed in this game since we started. Will these bushes last that long? Don't know. What will happen if we create an island with these shrubberies, and then the bushes change, but we don't come back to edit them, and people are still using the islands? Oh, again, don't know. Honestly, don't know. So what's that going to look like? It's a little... We need to get closer, because the LOD in the map editor is kind of appalling, if I'm going to be honest. But then you're flying around, so I guess it's done so that people on slower machines can see the entire island. It doesn't look terrible. It adds some much needed texture to the ground, because that was just a flat mound. So we've added the 2 trees, and we've added the shrubs. We do have some structural plants here anyway. Is there a reason to come up here? Yes, the yucca is here, and there is a potato plant there. Can we add anything? Can we? Just here. Little nana. Little cheeky nana. Just on top of the hill, because it's now no longer on top of a hill, all exposed. It is part of this hillside, but it's part of this more of a clearing, because that tree there, this ficus, and I guess those ficuses, this is now feeling a little bit more enclosed. Yeah, I think I'm liking that. There's this area here with a weird texture. I might just throw something in there. What's that gonna do? Is that... If they change the size of that, that feels enormous. Ooh, enormous. Let's just rotate it so the leaves aren't as badly clipping into the ground. Yeah, I think that might actually work. We can rotate it over a little bit more. Is it looking weird from here? It does not look weird. Doesn't look like it's just poking out the rock, because it's not. It's actually just touching the dirt. It's one of my... You can create like a rocky ledge and cover it with plants, as if the plants are sort of growing out of the ground. The only reason I'm doing this is because that's a very sharp drop there, and I don't want to smooth that area. So I don't want the players to see it either. So what we're doing is we've still got this area at the top. We're not impeding anyone's journey. If you want to go up there, you can go up there. You might need to jump a few times, but there are still very clear paths to the top of this hill. There is a reason to be at the top of this hill because of the yucca. And once people know the yucca is there, they're going to go for it. There's also the potatoes. So at least initially when someone's on this island, what they'll do is they'll do a quick run round picking things up, and potatoes, tarps, any building materials, essentially. That's what's going to be picked up on the first time. So we've changed the look of this by adding the trees in the background, which kind of gives it a sense of more depth than is actually there, because it's not really that deep. We don't really have to do anything with the beach. We've added more shade, I guess, which is cool. Yeah, no, that's cool. That's cool. So we'll just go on a little patrol, I think. Just a little patrol. Obviously these ficuses are okay. These ones are the problem children. So we will look around and delete that and hit up ficus 2. That's ficus 2. Actually, ficus 1, what are you like? You're your stick. Ficus 2, you're also a stick. Ficus 3, you are... Oh, you're the 3 sticks. Okay. Ficus tree original, OG, you are... Well, you're terrible. And Ficus 4. Yep. You're actually bigger than I remember, she said. Rotate you around. Actually, no, that is a lot bigger. Camera acceleration. No, go away. Oh yeah, no, that is a lot taller than the original ficus trees. So probably do a few things about that. We can drop it into the ground for a start to reduce some of that altitude and to have this, because I want this branch out over this pathway. We can also, it is rotated over, so we can have it appearing at an angle, not a problem. If you've ever been to the coast, you will know that a lot of trees grow at an angle, and you can kind of tell which way the prevailing wind is, because especially in more open areas, you'll see that all the trees kind of grow at an angle in one direction. So, good. We'll get rid of you, object. Actually, it would be handy if it told you what object you're about to delete. That'd be sweet. Are you sure you want to delete rock pile 1? Oh wait, I wasn't selecting rock pile 1, I was selecting old shoe 15. So I'll pop you right into the ground, right to the point where this branch splits out. Because I want you out over here, over the water. Ew, water. You are the same tree as the one over here, but it doesn't matter because it doesn't matter. Branches aren't touching, branches aren't clipped through anything. We might have to be a little bit more sparing with these big ficus trees. To be honest, I have noticed that players won't necessarily look up. Usually the only time when you get to see something in its fullest is when you're far away from it. But if you get closer, like a lot closer, say here, you're going to be sort of looking in this 16:9 aspect ratio. So 16 across the top, 9 across the side, unless you're playing on my monitor, in which case this is 16:10. So most people are playing 1920 by 1080. This monitor is 1920 by 1200 because it was got for photo editing. But people don't look up. So they're not going to see all of a sudden. They're going to see this branch. That's what they're looking for. And because, especially if they've been on the island a while and they've built houses and various bits and pieces, they are going to be focused on doing something. So yeah, that's kind of how people work. It's not a bad thing. It's just the thing that people do. We might not want to go mad with the new model ficus. We can leave certain areas open, and it might be worth doing that. Yeah, it might be worth doing that. So we can do this. I mean, this area isn't too bad, being a little bit more exposed than it was. What I could do is probably get rid of this one here and replace it with ficus 2. So we're not busting ourselves trying to rebuild the entire island. What we're doing is we have the time, we have the inclination just to play around and see if we can improve what we have by adding things or replacing things. That's good. So we've got the mix of pine trees and ficuses. I think I like the smaller ficuses in with the pine trees and the bigger ones to the back, adding that shade and kind of breaking up the edges of the waterway. So yeah, that's kind of cool. There is a disturbing amount of bubbles in this area, so it's going to have to be smoothed off and maybe add some rocks. Although, so here definitely had bubbles, right? There's no tide in the map editor. That's a tree, and the camera slows down once your face is on it. We can tell that by going over here, because we know at high tide this entire beach is covered with water. It is not covered with water, so no, the tides are not active in the game, and there is no way to activate them. So if we go here to the cog, we can change the time. Oh wait. Is that Is that changing the time? Changing the time, is that changing the... I lied. Look, you can see the tide move up and down. That is crazy. Wow. So the beach is dry. The beach is full of water. All right. So yeah, you can just about control the tides. I know at high tide this under the arch is actually full of water. That's unfortunately because, okay, there's high tide. High tide is about there. If I go to objects, is that going to be full of water under here? Not especially. It's a little tricky to control, but okay, fine. So yeah, you can control the tide. So this is kind of full. And then if we change it, we drain it out, and we got the shadows and everything. Alright, I lied, yeah. I didn't lie, didn't know. By changing the time of day, you can get a rudimentary control over your tides. It's not in the patch notes, you know. It's not in the patch notes. Wow, and there's this bubbles come back. Okay, fine. I get more and more respect for the developers. It's Ben and Sam. There's two guys that do this. So if you wonder why development is very, very slow, there's two dudes. It's just two dudes working away in a shed in Brisbane. I think it's Brisbane. And they're like, hey, you know what I could do if I cut some in Forex? And the other one's like, don't be stupid. We export that to the English. And they're like, oh, where are you from? And he's like, I'm from Brisbane. Where are you from? And he's got a baguette and a stripy vest. And he's like, nowhere. Okay, let's get on with the trees. But yeah, okay, so you can control the tides, look for the bubbles, and smooth off the coast. I don't even know what's going on anymore. Let's find another ficus and eliminate it from our world. I know this big boy here is should be a big ficus boy. That is not what I want. So again, we'll have to look out to sea and see if we can select what we want. So that's it. Let's get rid of it. Ficus tree 2, show us your magic. You are big. We'll press T and then transform you. And then you've gone to the Nana plant. You get away with just dropping that in and leaving it? I mean, could just drop it in and leave it. There is no shame in doing that. Let's back up so we've got the full force of that. So because it's at an angle, certain branches are gonna be in different positions. I do like the idea of enclosing this area with a branch. Whoops. I don't like the idea of the camera going crazy. I've got an idea. Let's try this. We've got another ficus tree. We put this in here, like so. And we make a world tree. Is that going to work? I mean, as long as you don't see the join, but I guess because of the way this one's created, I don't think you will. That's the wrong thing we've selected. Okay, I like what we've got so far. Is there any obvious kind of weirdness going on? Don't know. Not really. That works quite well. I'd like a branch out over somewhere. That camera though. Oh, that camera. I mean, it works. It works very well. Surprisingly well. I'm just looking for any signs that it's obvious something is wrong, and there is here. You can see under the mesh of one of the trees. So we'll press T, And we'll try and work out which tree is not right. That's the one that's not right. So it's those little things that are going to take someone out of the experience. As soon as they see a floating tree, they're like, oh, you know what? The tree is floating and I don't believe it's really there. So that's a lot of green. Does it work? It works very well. Looks like a big ass, like, oak tree or something. Yeah, no, I like that. I like that a lot. Ooh. Yeah, I like it. That is very good. That's very, very good. Excellent. So we're learning things, we're trying things out, and some things are working, and other things are like, you know what? Does it look okay from over here? Yeah. The world tree. We could probably do that a couple more times on the island somewhere. As long as we don't do them all together, otherwise it's going to just look a little bit weird. Like this area here does look a little bit weird. Now there's no grass and everything's just kind of on its own. It probably looked better originally, or maybe it was one of the first areas that we did. So we'll throw in a ficus and we'll bring it down a bit. And then immediately this area looks a lot better for just having that. Not necessarily side on, it's very narrow, almost rectangular tree, but if we come over here, this is where we usually start the episode. So what I'll do is from this point, let's rotate it so it looks good from over here. But that's cheating. I know, good, eh? But now we look at this side and it's very flat, so it doesn't cover the area at all. But we can do the world tree thing here, so it looks good from both angles. Oh, okay, that's good. So we are building for a reason at this point. So you're coming across this rock bridge. Boop, ba-doop, 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 ba-doop. Oh, there's a big ass tree there. Hello. Oh, looks Lord, strike a light. Mary Poppins, cup o' tea. Does that look good from over here? It's okay, passable. It's going to look different in game because I guess LOD is going to change, although I'm just see these small ones tend to be a bit of a weird thing because maybe it's the shadows that disappear first. Dunno. Why? Why? Oh, camera, why hast thou forsaken me? Okay, so we're gonna do the same thing here. Yeah, I'm gonna put a tree on this island, but then I'm gonna ask a question, and I really need some help at the moment. And I'm gonna ask a question here because most people view these videos. A lot of people view these videos. The question is, I've got new neighbours. They are neighbours and they are new. But they have like 7 kids. And I was trying to record yesterday and I couldn't do it because one of the kids, well, a lot of the kids, were out the front of the house. And they were like screaming for about 5 hours. Happy. I mean, like doing kid stuff, riding around on big wheels and making just an unholy noise. And the problem is when they're doing that, I can't record because I have a microphone and I have a Samsung CO1U? What is it? Oh yeah, CO1U. So I have this Cartoid microphone. It's Cartoid pickup. It's a condenser mic. It's actually a USB one. It's very good, as you can hear. Unfortunately, even with noise cancelling, you pick up a lot of screaming in the background, and it sounds like being next to a daycare. It is, when the kids are out. It's kind of awkward. And I was wondering if anyone knew of a system that I could get that's, I would say, relatively inexpensive. I mean, we're not talking about we're not talking about Gibson Les Paul 59s here, if anyone gets the reference. But we're talking, something that's not massively expensive, but will, like a tight diaphragm, monodirectional condenser that might not pick up everything, like specifically just voice. Because I had a little look and I just couldn't find anything. And it does limit options in terms of how often I can record if I have to wait for them to go to bed. And believe me, they were screaming until about 9 o'clock last night, at which point I was like, well, I'm on War Thunder then. Just my chill out game. Yeah. So what we're doing is we are putting a ficus on that island. And because this island is one of the places where people might go and then just have a little look at once and then not go back to, we need to make it look good when you're on the shore on the land. So what we're doing is we're standing on the shore and then we're turning it on the shore like we did with the other trees. Oh wow, that's so good. It's not my own ego that I'm stroking. I'm stroking everyone's egos. I'm stroking Ben and Sam's ego. There we go. Yeah, so these things have to look good. These things that should probably be a little bit closer together, thinking about it. See if we can select the right thing. One of these, one of us. There we go. So blue and move it in. There we go. These things do mesh together really well. Cool. I like it. Another. Let's rotate it over a little bit more. And just make sure nothing's poking out where it should not poke out. So that means the edge has to be in the ground, which is not. It's going to be red, isn't it? Ooh, well that's changed. That's something else. So that's red. There we go. There we go. There we go. Nice. So that is over there. Yeah, that's a lot better. It's feeling a bit too mushed together. And it looks okay over here. Oh, it's like a big ass tree. Good. Big ass tree. It's the best type of tree. So we will get rid of this as well. Yep. Please, 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 please go. This was originally one of the old style ficuses. I still like the old style ficuses because they were kind of fairly short. And you could do a lot with them. I suppose these, because you can just jam them in the ground, aren't too bad. Is this going to work? You know, I think it just works. Yeah, that actually just kind of works. Let's bring you a little bit closer to the rocks. Was there a Nana in there before? I have a feeling we played with a Nana. Oh, there's a Nana on the outside. Alright. So, yeah, originally, I think we get some sprites, some sort of like dry, grassy sprites on this stuff, so it's not too bad. We might throw in some bushes just to give it a more je ne sais quoi feel about things. Nice. Nice. So we can do that. Where is the bush? Bush. Hello. We have need of your services. So we'll do this. I'll jump you into the ground a little bit. Pull you over. What I'm not going to do is put it up close to the rocks for resins. And the resin is this. I don't want to get into a situation where a player can fall down into an area and then get stuck. So these rocks and the angle of... So the angle of the rocks, there is a fair amount of gap, but I believe there are certain situations where the jump button won't work. And it might be like if you're moving and the momentum is carrying you in a downward fashion, you won't be able to jump. But we know these bushes are solid, so what we might be able to do is disguise the fact that there's not a lot behind. Oh, look at that. Hey, that kind of works. You still get access to the yucca, which is important. Throw some extra greenery in that little passage. Separate it from the rest. Yeah, no, that works. That worked. Probably even do the same thing the other side. I'm kind of curious as to the design decision that these bushes, that led to the bushes being added to the game. It's very, very interesting. Kind of a curious thing. It's like We need these. Why do we need these? Because they appear at my local beach and I see them every time I go surfing. Okay, that makes sense. Does that work? It does, you know? It separates that path visually. So it makes the path look a lot more dense either side and gives a purpose to the rocks. Yeah, that actually works, because before we were just leaping over the top to get to the other side of the island. So the cut through has been touched up, as one would say, just by adding those bushes in a sort of a more structural way, a more thoughtful way, and working with them instead of against them. Interesting. I think we could probably do more with them. I think we probably could do more with them. Like, places like up here, maybe. Yeah, I think there's a lot we can do. There's a lot we can do. We've explored, done a lot. We've got this section of the island is looking a little bit better. The swampy area is looking a lot better. And we've investigated putting world trees in. Multiple trees stacked together. That's cool. That is very, very cool. There are a few areas we kind of need to brush up on, but to be honest, there's not too much more we are going to need to do on this island to kind of finish it off. So, yeah, we're not going to spend too long on it. But you know what? For the time being, I'm going to leave it here. So if you're liking this video, or liking this series of videos, definitely leave a little like, leave a subscribe. And if you do subscribe, click the little bell, and that'll give you notifications for when videos on the channel go live. And you know what? I'll catch you next time.